All right, it's Sunday. Out here walking around with the wieners. They're barking at the wind blowing. I don't know about y'all and where you're located at, but it's a little chilly here in East Tennessee, and I am not a fan of cold weather. So I do not like what's coming. I don't care for winter. I'd rather be sweating my you-know-what off than freezing my you-know-what off. But I figured I'd walk out here to the trailer before I go and deliver it. I went Friday down to almost Chattanooga to pick up a Volkswagen Beetle. And going to be delivering it to the shop that I'm doing it for, working together with him. Another shop was doing the work and got it to this point here. I won't be putting it together or anything like that, but I will be going over everything, sanding it, getting it ready to paint, and shooting some color on it. Looks like it's going to be a pretty cool little Volkswagen Beetle here. I don't know much about it, as far as I don't even know the year of it or anything like that. I don't know much about the Volkswagens. First one I've done is that bus that's in the garage. But this one looks like it still has a good bit of work to do. The body seems fairly in good shape. I noticed when I was loading everything up and putting the, I guess you would still call it a hood, the front piece and the back piece. It looks like I still seen where there was some body work going to need to be done. But as far as I've just glanced at it, the body seems to be pretty straight and smooth. Nice about these things is they're basically all a contour, so you don't really have any flat areas. It's good on the eyes, but it makes the body work a little bit harder, just to keep everything to not have a wave or anything in it. But it shouldn't be a problem. I'm pretty kind of excited to get to work on this little things, because I've never done one before. So like to see it when it's all together and running. And yeah, so there it is. Like I said, I'll be delivering it here shortly, and I'll show you also got another pump in. I'm going to be painting it gray and yellow like the others that I've done. This one looks to be in the worst shape as far as paint coming off and rusting as the others was. That fender is crooked, but I believe he's just going to get some paint put on this one and put it up for sale, so he's not going to be using this one. But yeah, that's going to be coming up also. This one's made a little bit different, so I'm going to have to tape it up a little bit different. Most of it is going yellow, and the fenders and the motor is going gray, which I normally paint the motor and the frame and everything gray, and then like the hood yellow. But what's up, everybody? Been a few weeks since I've videoed anything, so I'm going to flip the camera around and show you what has been going on in the shop. All right, so you seen that I'd had been working on this, I believe it's a 73 Camaro, and trying to get these aftermarket parts in the front to fit really good, or as best as possible. The owner came by and brought some original fenders that are rusted pretty good, and I ended up unbolting the front end and putting the original fenders on to see if the gaps was any better. And they were a lot better. It kind of showed me what I needed to do to these aftermarket fenders to make sure that they were as close to the factory body lines and such as them original fenders fit on here. I had to make the decision whether or not to modify and keep messing with these new aftermarket fenders, or cut the rust out of the original fenders and use them. But the rust is pretty bad down at the bottoms of these fenders, and I just decided that the amount of time to cut the good areas out of the new fenders to replace the bad areas in the original fenders, I was going to have the same amount of time as if I just modified these fenders in order to fit better. And then he'd have a nice new clean metal instead of repaired original fenders. So that's what I decided to do. I was having a lot of fitment issues with the hood. I thought that I was going to have to cut this corner of the hood because it was everything was pretty level except for this driver's side front corner. It was about an inch, sitting up about an inch high on just this corner, and of course it was gradually got back down to the level with the back of the fender in the back. But I messed around with that, and it ended up being it was following the contours of this front nose cone, so I thought everything was good. I welded up these seams on his nose cone like he wanted, but before I measured from the garage floor up to the seam, and the measurements was just fine, because I thought maybe this front corner was sitting low, and that's why the hood was sitting up. But what I ended up doing is the stops. These stops here I put in, and when I put the latch and stuff in, so I could gauge when the hood was shut if it was all going to line up and everything. Well, this one was down pretty far, and I had to have this one run up to get the hood to actually not move up and down. But what I did is I run all of them, both sides all the way down, and then he brought the latch, so I was able to actually close the hood. And when I was able to do that, it changed this corner of the hood. It let, I'd run that bump stop in, it let the hood close, and then the gaps wasn't right, or not the gaps, but the way the nose cone fit the hood this way, height wise, I guess you would say, wasn't right. The nose cone was a lot higher than this in this area than the hood. Well, that was all right, because the two corners they fit height wise to the fenders great. So what I did is because this nose cone there ain't nothing really holding it on, especially since I don't have the lower valance on, I was able to put some pressure and stuff on it to get it to follow the front of the hood in the center really good. It's still not perfect. There's little bits of difference, but nothing more than what factory would be, I would imagine, or aftermarket pieces you would expect. But other than that, it fits a whole lot better. I can work with this. Corner's not up no more. Didn't have to cut the hood, modify all that. The gap down the hood is really good on this side. The only thing that I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to cut loose the tops of the fender, or where the spot welds are at, and bring that fender up to meet the hood, because it's down, it's level and matching up good at the front and the back, but in the center it just don't have the same contour as the hood. So what I'll do is I'll take loose these spot welds, bring that fender up to where it matches the hood, and then tack it back. Shouldn't be too big of a deal, but it will take some time drilling out them spot welds. Now this side, the gap is like the other side, the driver's side, and then it gets pretty tight towards the back. You can see back here it gets pretty tight. So what I'll have to do is I'll have to cut this fender, because I can't move the hood and go that way or to mess that gap over there. And plus the gap is good up front but not in the back, so it only needs to be moved in the back. I measured the width of the fender on the original fenders, and this fender is too thick, too wide. So it is an issue with the fender. So I'm going to cut that loose, change the gap gradually, get that straight, and I'll have to do the same thing as I will do to the driver's side, as far as raising the fender up to keep the same contour as the hood on this side, because I don't want to leave that's pretty ugly. I'm not going to build it up with Bondo or anything like that. So I'll cut the spot welds loose, raise the fender up to meet the hood, spot weld it back, and that should be good to go. I got this passenger side fender fitting the best I could to the door gap wise. It's still a little large, but it was a lot worse when I first started doing it. But I'm going to take some filler rod and weld that gap up and make it a lot closer like the driver's side, and that should get me really close. I think one rod now, maybe two, and one rod plus some weld I'll probably get me where I'm at, maybe 2 rods. But tighten that gap up there, and the front end should be good to go as far as starting to sand and do some filler work. Like I said, I welded up the seams up here, so that's ready for some filler. That really takes care of the front. I may massage the fender and the door and hood to have the same contour a little bit better. But other than that, it should be good to go. Now, as far as the back, I fitted the wing, the Z28 wing, I believe it is. Had to drill the holes for the little side pieces. Got that all fitted up. I welded the seams in the tail pan to quarters. Welded them up like you wanted. Put 1 coat of filler on it. So I need to spread some more filler on it and get them all smoothed up. That works real good. The trunk's got some dents in it. The edges of the trunk, it's pretty good here as far as level and follows the quarter panel. But right in here, you can see that the primer where I've blocked it wasn't sanding the edge because it's a lot darker. That's because that trunk is rolling down before it meets the quarter. And what it does is, I don't know if you can see it, you can see the edge of the quarter panel, like down here at the bottom is like it should be, is level, and then that up towards the top is not level. So I'll have to hammer and dolly these corners. It's like that on both sides, not corners but sides, and get that to come back up and meet level with the quarter before I do any body work as far as like filler work, because I don't want to just fill that edge up with filler. I want to get that edge up as close as I can. That way it's all metal instead of a bunch of filler up to the, you know what I'm saying. You don't want to build up edges with filler. You always want to get the metal panels as close as possible before you do any kind of filler work. But it's got a few dents in it. Fix them too, and then that should take care of most of the major work in the back. And then I'll start blocking and sanding the doors and the rest of the car and see what needs to be done there, but it should be fairly straight. Not much filler work to be done. So I'll get this front end knocked out and then start doing your normal filler work and get this thing going out of here. Progress. Doesn't look like much progress has been done, but I've worked on this thing hours and hours and hours fitting this front end. And why I've been working on this Camaro and finishing up the insurance work, I'm all caught up on it. All that is done. I don't have any sitting here waiting on parts or me to work on right now. So all I've really got is the Camaro and the Mustang. Try to get one of these out. I'm probably not going to make it until I got a couple more all-overs that are coming. So I don't really like that. I don't want that many all-overs here at one time, but I got to do what I got to do. So I got to get one of these, the Mustang or the Camaro out. And like I said, like I was going to say, is that since I've been doing all that, I've been working on the Coupe car too, and let me show you what I've been doing to it. So I started on the engine bay of the Coupe and cut out all the old Scott rod panels that was in it because I didn't like how they were done. They were basically spot welded a few times around, and then all the seams was just filled with Bondo. Wasn't welded completely in or anything like that. Didn't use seam sealer. It was just Bondo. Kind of like what they've done here, but I'm not going to be digging out all that and just costing the owner more money. So I'm leaving these panels like they are. They didn't show any cracks or anything like that, so leaving them like that. The aprons though, the Scott rod panels, I cut them out. They had left the inner structure. I don't like doing that. So I cut the inner structure out and prepped it for the new panels. The new panels came in the other day, so they're real close to be fitting right now. So a little bit of massaging and get them in and weld it in. I welded up a few holes that wasn't welded up in the engine bay. I welded up like I did the Calypso Coupe. If you go back to my older videos and see the engine bay I did on it, I welded up the holes on the top of the radiator support, except for the ones that are really needed. Left them and smoothed that all out. It's ready for a little bit of a filler to get the grind marks and stuff out of it, and cut that big plate that they had on to hold an intercooler, cut that off. Welded up the holes down the side of the frame instead of putting a panel over it. They had a panel that was tack welded on, and then it was done really bad around the sway bar brackets. Looked terrible, which I talked about that in older videos. So if you go back and watch it, you can see that. But got rid of the sway bar brackets, welded and smoothed them on both sides. So that's ready to go, and I'm going to have to do some filler work in the back because they had a lot of low spots and stuff where they welded holes up in the firewall. But other than that, the only other major thing is that this whole opening was jacked up, and I don't know really how they did it because that's pretty thick metal, but it was pretty bad, and I welded and grinded and made that to look a little bit better. And that's where we're at on the Coupe car. I'll get these aprons in, do a little bit of filler work, get the engine bay and primer, and then this car will be ready for 180 block, and then primered again, and then sanded and painted. I am doing the door jambs, so they'll get sanded also. just like the trunk, the jam of the trunk, all that gets sanded. But knocking out this engine bay first, get that out of the way, and then all that's left is just some blocking and sanding, sanding and blocking and sanding and priming and sanding and blocking and sanding. But I'm gonna get to work and stop talking to y'all. All right, so I'm gonna update y'all. It's Thanksgiving and out here piddling around in the garage. On the Fox Body Coupe car, I've got both new Scott Rod panels welded in. Started doing some filler work, just smoothing out where the heat distorted the metal a little bit, just making sure everything is nice and flat and straight. And yeah, I got some basically the radiator support is ready for primer. I just got one coat of filler. I use the Z glass for my first skim directly over to the metal on it, and then I'll use the Rage Gold over top of it. I'd use the Rage Gold in that. You can see the color difference, but I'll use that over top of it and finished everything out in it, get everything smooth, ready for primer. But that's where I'm at on the coupe car. I've spread some of the Z glass on the welded seams that I welded up on the front nose, and then I'm going to start adjusting the fender, taking loose the spot welds like I talked about before. On the Camaro, probably, I don't know if I'll get to the Camaro tomorrow, but my plan is to do some more filler work on the coupe car tomorrow. I may start on the Camaro first thing Monday, or I may work on it some on the weekend, this weekend. But that's where I'm at, and I'll update you tomorrow.